Mike, that's true. Now, there's two companies in our state that actually manufacture these exploding targets. One of them is right in Clarion. Now, on the other side of the state, a man is now facing charges for allegedly planning to use some of the targets to blow up a state police barracks and kill state troopers. Some say the targets are too easy to get. It's not dynamite, C4, or TNT blowing that up, no. But it is something that anyone can get right over the counter. They're called exploding targets and are sold under a variety of brand names like Shockwave, Bullseye, and most famously, Tannerite. Sportsmen use them to get a visual on where exactly they've shot downrange. It's a target that creates an explosion when hit with a bullet, whether it's placed next to a home or a large gummy bear.
If you put 150 pounds of Tannerite in the middle of this house, it would level this house completely.
That's not the intended use, though. In fact, on Tannerite's labels and website, it clearly warns consumers to only use the product in a safe manner, according to instructions. Tannerite even tells people not to do what hundreds are doing on YouTube. If the manufacturer's instructions and warnings are followed, bad things won't happen. But in the end, it's use at your own risk. They're binary explosives, two separate compounds, often ammonium nitrate and aluminum powder, which are inert until they're mixed and shaken together, at which point they become explosive and will detonate when hit with a speeding bullet. Some states require a permit to handle them after they become explosive, but in Pennsylvania, they're legal before and after targets are mixed, no permit needed. They're also pretty easy to get. So I just came out of the gun store where I got these 2 pounds of exploding targets. It was $9.95 each, no questions asked. To see how it's supposed to be used, Washington County SWAT team member and certified sniper Kevin Grippo took us to the South Connellsville Rod and Gun Club. That's where he took aim at an exploding target. But as we all know, not everyone follows directions. In Ohio, Jennifer Greer nearly lost her hand when someone fired at this exploding target packed in a metal refrigerator while she filmed it all with her cell phone. In 2013, she filed a federal lawsuit against an exploding target company, claiming H2 Targets knew or should have known that their exploding rifle targets were commonly used by consumers to create bombs, similar in nature to IEDs that have the potential to severely injure individuals exposed to the supersonic exploding fragments. H2 Targets denied that allegation. Greer eventually settled her lawsuit with H2 Targets. The company's attorney says H2 is no longer in business. The FBI has acknowledged the dangers as well. This 2013 memo states exploding targets, commonly referred to as Tannerite or reactive targets, can be used as an explosive for illicit purposes by criminals and extremists for use in improvised explosive devices known as IEDs.
The concern for us is that they can be used to create larger, more destructive type explosive devices, which could then be used for nefarious purposes.
You don't even have to leave Pennsylvania to find a plot to use exploding targets to do exactly what the FBI warned about.
His plan was to kill as many police officers as he could.
Here in Loganville, right outside York, Pennsylvania, investigators say a man named Howard Timothy Coughlin Jr. planned to blow up this state police barracks. In this arrest affidavit, he told investigators, "I've already staked out their headquarters. I already know where they fuel their cars. I already know the entrances and exits. I'm building explosives and bombs. You can take a simple propane tank and put Tannerite binary explosive on it and strap nails and make an IED. And this state police barracks is right next to a playground and several businesses." It's also near several homes. Linda Arnold frequents the house across the street.
It was scary because you don't really think that people are going to do that kind of stuff.
Coughlin told investigators he also planned to kill his ex-girlfriend and rig his home with explosives. "I'm going to set it off, and that's why I need a 1,700 foot per second bullet or better, because that's what sets off the Tannerite. So I'm planning on going to war," Coughlin said, according to the affidavit. You can take a simple propane tank and put nuts and bolts or nails on it and put Tannerite on it that you can go and buy right at Cabela's or Dick's. Tannerite Sports LLC, the maker of Tannerite, emailed Action News Investigates a statement. Tannerite vigorously condemns any and all uses of our product that does not adhere to our strict safety guidelines and intended use. We commend the law enforcement community in Pennsylvania for apprehending the individual who threatened the freedoms we all hold so dear. Tannerite is a legal, safe, and fun product that is being safely and lawfully used by people throughout the state of Pennsylvania and elsewhere as intended by design. Coughlin, however, never built any bombs, but did acquire propane tanks and gun parts. He's pleaded not guilty and has a preliminary hearing March 9th.
I'd say we're about 100 yards.
Eric Schaefer owns Relic Consignment Shop across the street from the barracks.
Shrapnel can fly, pretty darn far.
Exploding targets are sold and used legally here in Pennsylvania, but in states like Tennessee and Nebraska, the targets become illegal without a permit as soon as they are mixed, at which point they're considered explosives. Eric Lowry, owner of Pittsburgh Tactical Firearms, says they're nothing to worry about. If kids can go and get, say, 20 pounds of it at a store and blow up a car, what's to stop a terrorist from doing that?
Because it's just not very effective.
Lowry says exploding targets are far more expensive and more difficult to detonate than many other common products like gasoline, fertilizer, or propane, which one could also easily buy.
If you told me that there's a guy buying bullets and pulling the bullets out and taking the gunpowder and putting it into something else, I would have believed that over this story,
Because Tannerite's that impractical.
Absolutely.
Gasoline, though, isn't marketed or packaged the way exploding targets are, which aren't difficult to acquire in mass quantities. When do we get into the territory where it might raise a red flag?
That's a good question. And clearly 50 pounds of exploding targets is a pretty devastating explosion.
So both bullseye targets and shockwave targets, those local companies, they never responded to our multiple requests for interviews. Live in the studio, Bo Berman, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
A great story.